Welcome to this lesson on value proposition. So the goal of this lesson is to be able to crisply define your unique advantage over your competition. So several years ago, Jeffrey Moore wrote a book called Crossing the Chasm, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading it. And in that book, he introduces a very easy template that for a value proposition. And to be honest with you, I've launched many products in my career, and I've started several companies, and for every one of those, I've used this template. It's very easy and succinct, and so we use it here at the GSBI. And so the way the template goes is for and the target user. So who's your target customer? That who needs or wants what the application is. What is your product or service? The name of your product or service is what category is it in? Is it clean cook stove, water filters, job placements, whatever? And then what that provides. What is the compelling reason for a customer to buy your or adopt your product or service? And then, unlike your competition, the main one, and you might, when you went through your competitive advantage, you probably came up with several competitors, but what's your main competitor? And then our product provides, what's the primary differentiation for that competitor? What's the primary differentiation? And so here, let's look at TP Mox. And so again, remember, TP Mox has beneficiaries as a target market and paying customers. And so they have two value propositions. And so the one for their beneficiaries is for impoverished Native American communities that lack sufficient employment opportunities. TP Mox is an e-commerce retailer selling children's moccasins that provides jobs and additional resources to underprivileged children in need. So just within those 4 sentences, you get a really good understanding of what TP Mox is doing, who they're targeting, and what they're providing, right? Very easy. So unlike their competitors that do not specifically target Native American artisans to handcraft and give back to the Native American community, so they are going against some of these other retailers that they identified in their competitive advantage. Their moccasins creates flexible jobs for Native Americans and provides much needed resources for children in their communities. So again, in like 6 sentences, you get a really crisp understanding of what TP Mox is doing and why you should care about that. And when I highly recommend, when you're putting together your value propositions using this template, that you do it with your team, because I actually have found in working with my team, there's some assumptions that I've made that are not necessarily shared by team members. So for instance, I might think that our biggest competitor is another product or service, and in fact, that's not shared by some of my teammates. So it's really good to do this as a team activity, and this is not something that's going to go on your front page of your website. This is an internal document that's used that then you can go back. It's your touchstone. You can go back and revisit it and say, okay, are we still about this? Is this still the case? And sometimes things change. New competitors come up. You understand that some of your value proposition for other might change over time for some of your customers, etc. But it is a really good exercise to go through. So TP Mox did this also for their paying customers, and so this is for socially conscious consumers who have interest in using their purchasing power to positively impact disadvantaged communities. TP Mox is an e-commerce retailer selling children's moccasins. Of course, that's the same between both value propositions. They're still doing the same thing. That reduces poverty on rural Native American reservations and provides resources. So those two things are the same between the two value propositions, because again, they're doing the same thing. But unlike other e-commerce retailers, the purchase of their moccasins provides customers, the paying customers, the knowledge that they are positively impacting historically marginalized communities. So, like I said, TP Mox has these two, the beneficiaries and the paying customers. If you should do value propositions for both of those beneficiaries and your paying customers. So that's your exercise to do now, is to use the formula here and put together your value proposition. Remember, fewer words is better. As you saw in both in the TP Mox value propositions, they're not wordy. They don't go into all the amazing things that they do. What's the primary differentiation? Who's the main competitor? That's what your exercise is now to do.